Good afternoon. Today is the 29th of October. The light should be a little bit better in today's video, and we're going to be covering just a very short topic today. What exactly has happened to my 1998 Rover 620 GSI since the Centerpod £500 challenge a couple of weeks ago? You'll notice straight away I'm not sitting in the Rover today. I'm in my Seat Toledo. Now the reason to that is because the Rover is gone. It actually went over a week ago, and I did sell the car eventually. It didn't end up at the banger track. It didn't end up at the scrapyard. A chap who lives the other side of Hampshire came and picked it up, and I think he was only here about 20 minutes, and it's gone. So yes, I was able to sell it. Thank you very much indeed for all your support and all your comments. It was a real help. Eventually I did manage to get rid of the car in the old-fashioned way, just by using Auto Trader. And I'll just go into some of the things that I find when selling cars like this, which can be a problem, because then hopefully that'll be fascinating for the rest of you as well. If it's not fascinating, then I don't know, maybe go and watch something else. I bought the car for £320 right at the end of August this year, and the chap who'd been selling it, he'd had a number of people messing him around on eBay, and I decided that I wouldn't use eBay because my experience of eBay, although it's good, with very cheap cars, less than £500, especially things like this Rover, you do get a lot of people messing around. I once sold a Suzuki Vitara that some of you may have spotted in one or two of my videos if I've never ever made a video on it properly. I had a huge amount of people messing me around when selling that, again for less than £500. So I don't use eBay when I'm selling cars for that amount of money, because I find that people the people who bid, they often don't actually buy the car. So I suppose a classified advert would do for that, but some people want to use an auction because it gives people incentive to actually get on with things. But eventually I just put the car on Auto Trader. I had to lower the price a little bit, and I eventually received exactly the same that I paid for the car. Although the work I'd done on it, I didn't get that money back, but sometimes it's the way it goes. It's the sixth Rover I've had in 10 years, and I really like them, but they're not the most popular cars in that kind of condition. I maybe should have bought one that was slightly better in terms of the bodywork and everything like that. Those tend to be a little bit easier to sell. This one was okay. A chap was looking for an automatic car. He needed something at short notice, and mine happened to be the one that he bought, and he seemed pretty happy. So there we go. I always list adverts with everything that I know is actually wrong with the car. To an extent. I mean, I don't tell people necessarily that some of the trim is a little bit loose in the boot, because on a very old car that's likely to be the case, and stuff like that. But you don't expect a car for £320 to be perfect, and they're not. So I think he was sort of wise to that, and he seemed pretty happy. I believe in being honest and upfront about selling things and not wasting people's time. A lot of people wouldn't have listed most of the faults on a car like that, and just expected somebody to not know about them, and that's them to be their lookout, and that's fine. But I like to be very upfront with people, and people not to be messed around. That's just the way that I do things. Whether or not you think that's a good thing to do, I don't know, but that's just happens to be what I do. What I've noticed actually is looking for potential cars for the next time that we go to Centerpod, which will be in April, is that actually there aren't that many kind of out there which fit the criteria. Every time that I've bought one of these, and I've bought a lot of cars for Centerpod now, there's not been an awful lot of choice to fit all the criteria. There are cars that have done mega miles, there are cars that are not in as good condition, there are cars that have a short MOT. There are also those that have been, category C, category D, things like that. But that's not the way we choose to operate, and not the way that I would recommend somebody does, unless we know what they're doing. And a vast majority of car buyers don't have mechanical knowledge and things like that to be able to fix up an old car. A lot of people watching the video will have those things, and of course they can get themselves some great bargains. Mr. Coleman, for example, when he bought his Renault, he was able to do that. But the average person isn't quite in that category. So it's a funny area, buying cars for not much money, and you can get some really great things. I mean, every single car that we got for the challenge successfully completed it and actually got us all home. So that's one thing. And buying really cheap cars, if you just need a stopgap, that can work out quite well, even if you're not somebody who's mechanically minded. If you are mechanically minded, then cars like that can serve you well for years. It depends really what you want to do, and how willing you are to get your hands dirty, and how much you know about them. Myself, I don't really do very much. I'm not that kind of minded in that way. But because a couple of things I will do. I'll check my levels, top levels if necessary. I'll change a battery if I need to. I'll do things like that. But the rest of it I leave to people like Mr. Coleman. That's why he's a useful person to know. So anyway, I hope you found that video to be interesting. It's not perhaps the most enthralling subject, and but I do find that this sort of part of the market interesting. It's not an area that I go into too much with clients, but it is an area that I think a lot of you are interested in. And the next challenge is coming up in next April. We'll see what everybody gets. It'll be fascinating itself, because you can't enter the same car twice. Mr. Matt Richardson sold his Hyundai for £550. I don't know if Laurie and Matt from Lloyd's Mechanical Mods sold the Sleeker yet. Obviously, we'll find out. Mr. Coleman has been trying to sell the Renault. That will sell at some point, but for now, I think we'll just leave it there. Anyway, thank you very much indeed once again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I should have a different type of video for you tomorrow, and then later this week we'll be recording a whole load of new stuff, and I hope that'll be fascinating. Anyway, might see some of you at the social on Saturday. Thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching.